Okay, today we are going to discuss about cognitive processes. How do creators think? So, let's read it. Cognitive scientists have long been interested in the thinking processes that lead to creative ideas. Now, cognitive scientists, I have already taught you all. Cognitive psychologist means, who are they? Can Imara tell me, who is a cognitive psychologist? Imara, can you give me the answer? Who is a cognitive psychologist? Imara, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you give me the answer? Who is a cognitive psychologist? Somehow tell me who is a yeah. Tell me.
Like who give motivate something regarding the memory of a person. Someone is.
You can rate your 60% correct, 50 to 60% correct. Okay. Can someone give me the answer? What is the answer for this? Who is a cognitive psychologist? Samha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you give me the answer?
Yes, sir. The psychologist who study about the memory power and who.
Yes, a psychologist, a person, a cognitive psychologist means a person who is certified in mind, thought, about the thinking processes, right? So such psychologists, we call them as cognitive psychologists. Okay, now here, let me first read it, okay, after I'll explain you. Cognitive scientists. So cognitive scientist means the scientists who are dealing with thought processes, thinking processes, okay? So cognitive scientists have long been interested in the thinking processes that lead to creative ideas. Okay, so they are they were cognitive scientists since ancient times. There were scientists who were like interested in the thinking processes of creative ideas. Indeed, many so-called creativity tests, okay, are actually measures of the thought processes believed to underlie the creative act. The following two measures are among the best known. So they have developed two types of tests to identify or to measure the creativity of a particular person. Okay, so that is what we are going to explain today. So the first is the remote associate test. We call it as the RAT test. But now now at present also there is a test as RAT test. What is it? How many of you all know that? Now it's a common word as RAT test. What is it? Mariam, can you tell me? Do you know?
Maybe to identify human thinking.
No, it's not related to the psychology part, but the abbreviation is the same, right? RAT. So that is called as rapid antigen test, right? For the COVID-19 to identify, we have like the PCR, we have another test as rapid antigen test. Okay, so that is also we call it as the RAT test, RAT only. Okay, so rapid antigen test, but here it is totally different. Okay, remote associate test. Okay, let's read this. They have given an example also, and also I want to explain you all this. By reading these two, you won't be able to understand, you won't be able to get a clear idea. Okay, I'm telling you all this because by just reading this small theory note, right, this one paragraph for RAT and the other paragraph for unusual users task, right, but you won't understand that. So what I will do is I will share you all a link of a video with regard to these two tests, right, like how I did it earlier, right? I will share you 2 links of videos. So after you read this, you watch that video, it will go into your mind and you will be able to understand it very clearly. All right, so let's read the first RAT test. The first is the remote associate test, also called as the RAT test, that was introduced by Mednick in 1962. Mednick believed that the creative process requires the ability to associate ideas that are considered very far apart conceptually. So what was his main idea was to identify or to check okay. So what his main idea was to that the creative processes requires the ability to associate ideas that are considered very far apart conceptually. Okay, so that means he's trying to bring out something in this way. The RAT consists of items that require the respondent to identify a word that can be associated to 3 rather distinct stimulus words. So now what he's trying to do is he's trying to what he did was he took gave a particular he gives 3 words, 3 different words, okay, and he expects a particular he expects a person to give one special word which will suit all the 3 words which he has given. Okay, once that is called creativity, the way you think, creative thinking. Okay, that is one method he used to identify, measure this creativity. Okay, so for example, right, for example, the 3 words which he gave was widow, bite and monkey. Okay, widow, bite and monkey, right? So the answers were black widow, spider. Okay, black widow. So what you expect is one word which will suit all these 3 words. Okay, black widow, spider. Okay, so the word which he has used is spider. Okay, for the second word, what has he used? Spider, bite. The third word, spider, monkey. Okay, so this is how this is called the RAT test, where you give 3 different types. This particular question is relatively easy. Others are much more difficult, but it gives you a basic idea. So hope you all have understood this, because now what they do is they give 3 different types of words and they expect you to relate it with one word. Okay, so just example is given here. So did you all understand that, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Good. So this is called as the RAT, okay, the remote associate test. The second measure is the unusual user's task. It's a bit confusing, but after you watch the video, you all will have a clear idea. Here, the participant is asked to generate alternative uses of a common object, such as a brick. Now, a participant is now if you take now, okay, we are telling who will tell Imara. Okay, now I'm telling Imara, okay, now you have to, now we are giving you I'm telling you, okay, with the brick. Now I'm giving you a brick, okay, as an example. Okay, so Imara, I'm telling you, okay, with a brick, what are the alternative uses? Okay, so alternative uses means a brick can be used for several things. Okay, you can use for several there are several uses of a brick. Okay, so now here in this case, the participant is asked to generate alternative uses of a common object. Now the common object is a brick, right? Let's see what Imara is telling. The responses can be scored on 4 dimensions. Now randomly you can't keep on blabbering. Okay, brick can be used for this, brick can be used for that. You can't say a lot of unwanted things, but there is a criteria where you get the marks, where you get the score. Okay, the first criteria is fluency. Now when we are evaluating you. For example, now if you are going to attend for IELTS, have you all heard about IELTS? Students, have you all heard about?
No, sir.
No. Okay. IELTS is a English assessment, an international method of evaluating your English language. Okay. Before you all go abroad. Okay. Before you all go abroad or migrate to a different country. Okay. Or else if you all are planning to go for higher studies abroad, it is a must that you all have to do this IELTS exam. Okay, it is a must. Hold on. Okay, it is a must that you all have to do because IELTS has 4 criteria. That means they test your language in 4 different criteria. Number 1 is reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Okay, reading, writing, speaking, listening. So that is how they get you the marks for IELTS. So we call these 4 as criteria, right? Score criteria. That means how you are getting the marks, right? Now, even in our assignments, we have 11 criteria because we sent you the assignment sheets. We are marking your assignments on 11 criteria based on 11 criteria. So here, now IELTS means International English Language Testing System. International English Language Testing System. So this is a must when you are going abroad for higher studies like Canada, Europe countries, right? When you're going to like Canada, Australia, UK, US, they require IELTS because we Sri Lankans are not, our native language is not English. So before you go to an Europe country, they test for your English language. If you get low marks, you won't be able to get the visa. All right. So it's like that. So there is in everything, when you are giving a score or a mark, there is a criteria that we give. Okay. So in this, what is the first criteria that they are checking? Now, Imara has been given a brick to give alternative uses. Okay. So we are going to evaluate or test Imara based on these 4 criteria. Number 1, fluency. Number 2, originality. Number 3, flexibility. And number 4 is elaboration. Okay, let's see what they are. Number 1, fluency. The total number of appropriate users. Now we'll see Imara is telling around 10 users. Okay, so that is the total number of appropriate user. That is, you are getting a score for that. Originality. Okay, the statistically rarity of the users given, right? So we have to check whether it's original. That means the use is 100%, which Imara has given 10 users. So we have to check the originality of that, whether it is 100% usage of bricks, right? Whether it's the original condition that she has mentioned. So for that also we are getting her the marks. Okay. Next is flexibility. The number of distinct conceptual categories implied by the various stages, right? Whether they check the flexibility of the alternative uses that she has given. Okay. Next is elaboration. The amount of detail given for the generated users. Okay. Now she has given 10 users and elaborate, whether she has elaborated, explained, rather than just giving an example, right? She should explain what is the use, how we can use this brick to this particular thing. So some people might say, now let me explain this also. For example, right, using a brick as a paperweight represents a different conceptual category that using its volume to conserve water in a toilet tank. Now, have you seen this? Have you seen people have constructed tanks in their bathrooms? Have you seen where we call that as to conserve water? That means to store water. Have you seen in most of the houses they get, but not in the modern houses, in ancient houses like grandma's or grandfather's house, you get when you go to the bathroom, right, washroom, you can see a tank built with bricks. Okay, and that is used to store water. Have you all seen that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is one use. That is one use of a brick, right? We can use bricks to make a tank also. Okay, and also they have given using a brick as a paperweight. What is a paperweight? Can Mariam tell me what is a paperweight? Mariam, can you tell me? Nazla, can you tell me what is a paperweight?
Object.
Weightless.
Object.
What, Mariam?
Object. A weightless object.
No, a paperweight is something where we keep on a table to prevent papers from flying due to wind. Now, when you put a fan in if you're in a room, right, you switch on a fan, okay, and sometimes because of the wind blow, the papers might fly away. So we keep a paperweight, right? So there are beautiful glass ornaments like paperweights. Okay, you would have seen on tables. Okay, so that is called as a paperweight. Using now the example that they have given is now we have to think actually. Now here, remember now by how now can this is not a common thing like using a brick as a paperweight, right? It's not a common thing, but this is creativity, right? Now how a person can use a brick as a paperweight. That is one use of a brick. Okay, the second is where we can use as a tank to conserve water. That is another use. So you can see that paperweight and a tank, those are two different things that we can't even imagine, right? It's very difficult to link these two, right? But it has these two uses as well. So the capacity to produce unusual uses is but one of example. Yeah, so the capacity to use that means we use this method unusual users task. You can see unusual users task. Now you can see that a paperweight and a tank is unusual. It's not a usual thing, right? A paperweight is not a usual thing. Now tank means it's a usual thing, but a paperweight using a brick as a paperweight is not a usual thing. So it's an unusual. So in this test, what they expect is using a common object, right? You should be able to generate unusual uses. Okay, using a common object, you should be able to generate unusual uses. Did you all understand that?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Any doubts with regard to this?
No, sir.
Very good. All right, so let's go to the next. Now here they have highlighted divergent thinking and convergent thinking. Always remember which is best. Can you tell me? Can Imara tell me what is best among divergent? What is divergent thinking and convergent thinking? Can you tell me those two meanings? What is a divergent thinking and convergent thinking? Y'all don't know? Okay, divergent means where you diverge means spreading. Converging means where you come to one point. Okay, so now always in this type of measure, unusual users task, they expect the person to use this divergent thinking. Okay, the divergent thinking means they have to diverge and think. That means they have to think in all the angles. Convergent thinking means where you focus on one particular thing and you think only about that. Now, for example, I'll tell you. Now, the example that they have given is paperweight, using a brick as a paperweight and using a brick as a tank to construct a tank. So that is a divergent thinking. But same thing I can use like this. Convergent thinking means using a brick to construct a tank, using a brick to construct a house, using a brick to construct a building, right? Using a brick to construct a wall. So all are related to each other. Do you understand? So that is called as convergent thinking, where that particular person does not think out of the box. So this is divergent thinking, means thinking out of the box. So even we have to practice of thinking divergently rather than convergent thinking. Okay, so that is the difference between convergent thinking and divergent thinking. All right, unfortunately many different cognitive processes have been linked to creativity. That is why we cannot use the singular. There is no such thing as the creative process. Nonetheless, the various processes do share one feature: all enable the person to think outside the box, imposed by routine thinking. Here it is, think outside the box. Now I will ask you a random question from Mariam. Can you tell me, what do you mean by thinking outside the box? Mariam, can you give me the answer?
Idea.
What is it? What do you mean by think outside the box?
In another way.
Your answer is not clear, Mariam. Can you unmute it and explain it a bit?
Thinking in a new perspective.
Thinking in a new perspective. Okay. Nazla, give me the answer. What do you mean by think outside the box? What does that mean?
Like divergent thinking.
Okay, what is divergent thinking, Nazla? Explain.
Thinking about all around.
Thinking about all around. Okay, so let's come up with another answer. Imara, can you tell me, what do you mean by think outside the box?
It's like divergent, like thinking in all the angles. We take a thing or something without
Exactly.
focusing on one point.
Yes. So Samha, can you tell me the answer? What do you mean by think outside the box?
Thinking differently from different point of view, like with new creative ideas.
Yes, thinking from a different perspective, different point of view, right? And as Imara told also, like you don't have to focus on one particular angle. So think outside the box. So this is a famous quote, actually, right? It's a famous motivational quote. Think outside the box. So because most of the people, if you take a classroom, right? If you take a group of students of around 40 students, okay, most of them, 98% of them will be stuck inside the box. When you give them a question, right? When you give them a question, right? When you give them a question, 90% of the students will be thinking within the box, but most of I mean, like only around 2 to 3% of the students will think out of the box. All right, so that is those are the people who explore new things, new ideas, right? They come up with new creative. They are called as creative thinkers, the people who think outside the box. All right, so we should not even, I'm telling you now, this is also a part of our life, creativity. So always now, since you all have learned what is creativity, right? You all know what is creativity. You all have to apply this to your life, starting from this moment. Okay, whatever you all do, you all can be creative with regard to that. Okay, you all have to be very creative when it comes to this your life, right? When it's especially learning a subject like psychology, right? As I tell you all throughout my lectures, I have always told you all, each and every subject you have to apply to your life. So let's see how you can apply this creativity into your life starting from today. So whatever the aspect you all do, so that is why this statement, think outside the box, has been given at last, because this all is thinking outside the box means it is creativity. So it all of y'all, right, each one of y'all have some sort of a creative ability. You all have some idea on creativity, right? That means I have told that y'all are unique, right? Each one of we can't compare y'all with each other. Okay, so y'all are unique with one another. All right, y'all are unique with one another. So what y'all have to do is y'all have to apply this statement to your life. Think outside the box. So whenever y'all are doing a task or going to start up a task, right? Whenever y'all are going to start up a task, remember this statement. Think outside the box. Now, even if you are going to answer a question, don't answer a question just how others answer. So you'll have to think a bit more, right? So get your creative ability outside, right? You'll have to get it, develop your creative ability, because all of you all have some sort of a talent within you all. Understand? So you all have to develop that skill, and you all have to put that out. Okay, so that is all for the day. So any doubts from today's session? Do you all have any doubts?
No, sir.
Is
All
everything
clear, sir.
all clear? Very good. And if you all have any doubts, you all can send it through WhatsApp group and ask. And with regard to your, one moment.